Hello everyone. Welcome back to my craft room. My name is Whitney Lucas. I'm with Crafty Thoughts and Whatnots, and today I'm going to show you 3 different versions of wooden wall hangers. I purchased all of these wood pieces at Walmart within the last couple weeks, and I was there for other reasons. I was getting some spray foam from another project, and what happened was I just ran through their craft aisle. I hadn't been to Walmart in ages, and I ran through their craft aisle and I found some really cute wooden pieces, and these were really inexpensive, and these will all go together very quickly. So I want to just get into it real quick, and I'm going to show you the 3 pieces. I have everything laid out on my craft table, but then we're going to do each one in its own little grouping. So let me just get down to the craft table with you guys real quick, and I'll show you exactly what we're going to do. Okay guys, welcome to the craft table. As you can see here, I have 3 projects. I have a smaller project, and then I have 2 different projects of the same size here. These wood blocks, like I mentioned before, are from Walmart. So we've got 2 blocks that are 10 inches by 10 inches each. Now I've got one that's whitewashed and one that is regular. These blocks were $9.97 at Walmart together. And on one of them I am going to stencil this little guy here. I also purchased this at Walmart, but you can use any stencil you have. I just was kind of grabbing things. I've never stenciled before, guys, so this should be interesting. We can see this and we get to experience it together, because I don't know what that's going to look like. So I'm going to stencil on this one with some black paint, and then I felt for this one I wanted to go with turquoise and yellow. So these are all flowers that I had on hand. These are all flowers out of my stash. It's a combination of Hobby Lobby and Michael's flowers. And then also I'm going to use, for ribbon, I'm going to use some leftover craft outlet. You guys have seen me use this in a couple of my spring pieces so far this year. I love this ribbon from Craft Outlet. And then I got some turquoise jute. I've already had this on hand, and I honestly, it's not labeled. I don't know where I got it, you guys. But any kind of jute cording you can pretty much find in a lot of different places, locally and then online as well. So I'm going to use a combination of the ribbon and the jute together, and then do this one in a turquoise and yellow theme. I am going to stencil this cute little zigzag project on in black. If it's too harsh when we're done, I'll sand it a little bit, but we'll see how this goes together. For this project up here, I'm going to use this wooden family, and this was also purchased at Walmart. This was $4.94. They had some other letters, and some other words there, but I chose family since it's coming up to more spring and summer. A lot of families are spending vacations and times together, and then just actually throughout the whole year, family is important to many people. So I chose a very friendly word for most people. They had you guys, they had some extra words, but I can't remember what they were. But this particular word I bought was family. I'm going to place this one on this block, and then I chose purple and orange for this theme. I have a lot of just solid orange over here, different hues of orange florals. And again, those are all my stash, leftovers from other projects. But I can guarantee you that they are all from Michael's. All these orange ones are all Michael's flowers. And then for the ribbon, I went with a combination of some paper mart purchases from previous years. Now these are not wired ribbons, so it will be a little interesting to see how we put these on. And then I purchased this particular ribbon at Hobby Lobby some time ago. It's $4.99, 30 feet. This is wired, so this one should be a little bit easier to put in. But I wanted to add some purple in with a lot of orange. I like the 2 colors together. It's very summery, very bright, happy. So that's that second project. And then the third project here, this one's for me. This one is a 6x6 wooden block. It's the regular brown. It's not whitewashed. Now this guy was $5.97. It's 6 inches by 6 inches. And then this particular little wooden letter W was 98 cents. And I'm thinking now it might be an M, but I couldn't find a W, so I'm going to use it as a W. I wanted a W, so this one's going to be for me. I'm going to make this one particularly for my desk in my office. I'm spending more time in there now because you guys are supporting me. I'm able to make more videos, so I want something cute on my desk for myself. So what I did was I just grabbed this little guy here. I'm going to put this W on it, and then these are all also leftovers. These are leftovers from another project at Michael's. Now the size of them are fairly large. I may only use one in the corner on this one, so I'm going to use green. My favorite colors are green and brown. I like to wear bright colors, but my personal favorite color is green. So I'm going to stick with the green flower. I have a green bush here. Now I can say that this one from the tag, this one was from Joann's. This is in their greenery aisle. This is just your average. It's not a seasonal type thing. You can probably get this type of greenery from Joann's year round. It was $3.99, so on the price, but I thought it was pretty. And again, these are all things I've had on hand. I didn't purchase any of the florals new for the project, but I did just purchase all the Walmart items within the last 2 weeks. And then here is a stem of cotton. I love cotton. I'm loving the farmhouse thing recently. So, excuse me, this particular project's definitely going to be tailored to me. So I'm probably going to put a couple pieces of the cotton on here. And then for the ribbon, I'm not necessarily going to go with any kind of like ruffly ribbon. I have this chicken wire ribbon that I've used before in a spring Easter centerpiece project you guys saw. And I'm probably just going to wrap this one around the actual piece here. We'll see in a second. And then for my other little bit of interest, I have this twine. And I believe that this is sisal. Yes, twisted sisal twine. I purchased this at Lowe's. You can get it at any hardware store. It's just your average regular twine. You get that in any of those regular hardware stores. So that's pretty much the 3 projects we're going to do. So what I'll do is I'm going to clear this off and then we'll get started on this little mini one right quick. Okay guys, as you can see here, our first project is all laid out. It's the little mini 6x6. Is that what I said before? Let's check the tag. Yeah, 6" by 6" block. This was $5.97 at Walmart. And then our wooden letter is 98 cents. And I do believe that this is supposed to be an M, but my name is Whitney. So I'm going to steal it and use it as a W. I don't think there's a problem with that. Then again, it's mine, so I don't have a problem with that. So let's see. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this particular hanger because I'm going to have this sitting on my desk. I don't want to hang this on the wall. So I'm going to take off they have it on, their little display hanger here is on with a Phillips head screw. So I'm going to take that out real quick. See, there's this little hanger here on the back that's garbage. And then they give you a little screw, so keep that. And then if you see here, they've just stapled on the back right here the actual cord they want you to hang it from. So I am going to just pull out these staples and let's see how... They're in there pretty good, so let's see if I can just clip them maybe and then pull them out with my pliers. Alright, I got one side out and the other side doesn't. Okay, got the other 2 out. So it's in there pretty good. So what I was doing was I was clipping it in half. Just actually clipping the staple. And I'm going to do that on I'm going to do this on a larger one too, but I'm going to actually put a picture hanger on it so that you can hang it on the wall like you would a picture and you won't have to use this this wood hanger. I'm sorry, this rope or twine hanger that came with it. Let's see if I can pull this out. There we go. So just apply whatever you want for your particular situation. I'm going to not use this hanger, and I don't want it to really hang behind it. It might show at different angles. I'm going to use this basically as a tabletop piece in my desk, in my office on my desk. Okay, so there we go. we got it all out. It's kind of an unfinished wood, so it's not very important you see these holes. I just want it to sit upright this way, and I don't want anything showing as far as on the back goes. So you can save that, trash it, whatever you want to do. I normally save everything, so you guys know me. I am a repurposer. Okay, so what I wanted to do first is I wanted to experiment with this chicken wire ribbon. I've used it on a previous project, and it's considered ribbon, but I haven't actually used it in a bow format yet, and I'm not going to do that again today either. I'm going to actually, since this is a darker wood, I'm going to actually put this as a backdrop against this wood here. I'm just going to literally lay it across this line. I think I want to do it widthwise. Yeah, because if it's standing up like this, I need to curl it around the back of the piece and staple it here. So if I have it going vertical, see how that kind of affects the way it stands. So I'm going to do it horizontal, and then the idea is to put the W over top of it, just to give it a tiny little bit of interest. I don't know, some of it might actually get covered up when I put the flowers and the twine on there, but it's just basically my little idea of adding a little bit of farmhouse to it. That's my new obsession. Apparently within the last year or so, I've become a very big fan of a lot of these farmhouse designs. And since I have a generous amount of space inside here, I have an actual, almost like a shadow box effect in here. I'm going to staple it in here with my staple gun. Let me see if I can make sure I got somewhere I get it at an angle that you guys can see it. And I just have a normal staple gun. I've had this for years. Any staple gun will do. I'm currently using 5/16 inch staples. These are the staples I use. I purchased them at the hardware store. You can go to Lowe's or Home Depot. I go to Lowe's mainly, but these are the staples that I use. Pretty much across the board for everything. I haven't come across a project where the staples have been too big. If they don't go all the way in, then I use a hammer and I get them to go in further, but I'm just applying 2 staples across a decent amount of the chicken wire. You can see inside there. You got the 2 staples holding that chicken wire in. And then on this side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure it out and then give it a little bit extra so that I can fold it. And this is thin enough you can just cut it with normal scissors. Don't use your fabric scissors or your paper scissors if you have those. And then what I do with it is I'm going to take it here, measure it that way, and fold it under. So when I bend it back out, I want to fold it inwards and kind of press these a little bit together. That way, just in case you get your hand in there, you're not going to cut yourself on it or anything like that. So fold that down under. So if you see there's a lip, the ribbon has, the wire's been folded once, okay, and then I fold it again, and then I'm folding it inside the piece, and I'm going to staple it right inside there. I'm going to staple one more time right here. And just making sure I have a good secure piece on there, and then pressing it down so I can get all the bends in the right spots where I want them. So it relatively lays a little flat. You can kind of see it sticks up just a little bit there, but I'm hoping that as long as I weigh this down with enough hot glue that it'll glue through to the piece in the wood. Otherwise, worst case scenario, I may have to take a break from this one and wait for E6000 glue to sit. But I'm pretty sure the hot glue will work. So let's just see how this goes. Actually, I'm wondering if it would look... What do you guys think? I think I like it on top better than on the underneath. Yeah, I like it on top better, so let's see how this works out. Worst case scenario, I'll have to take off the chicken wire and start over, but we'll see if the hot glue works on it. So what I'm going to do is just really fill this puppy up with glue. We're going to get a good amount. We want it to go through all of the chicken wire holes, and then we also want it to adhere to the wood underneath, above and below the chicken wire. Ooh, got some on my finger just right now. Okay. So flip that over carefully, kind of center it up as best you can, and then we're just going to hold this down for a little bit. Okay guys, everything's on, glued down good. The chicken wire has stayed down. Again, this is crafting chicken wire ribbon. It's not real chicken wire. I don't think real chicken wire is this forgiving. So all I did was kind of just pinch the corners here to put those bends, you know, a good solid bend in the corner here so that the chicken wire won't pop back up. The hot glue is working perfectly fine. And if you want, we can put a little bit of glue back here on top of each one of the staples. And then also we could put some leaves. We'll glue some leaves down back here inside. This actually gives us a really good lip to cover with. So what I'll do is I'll probably put some leaves, some greenery inside here to cover that up so you don't have to really look at that. But that's pretty much the premise of it, you guys. It was super easy. Now we're just going to add some ribbon. I'm sorry, not ribbon. I'm going to use twine. So let me grab one of these flowers. These are a decent sized flower here. And what happened was these flowers were used on a different project and it didn't work out, so I pulled them out. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just cut this one super short. And I'm going to bend it a little bit just to see how much it sticks up from the piece. And then do I want to go top or bottom? I think I'm going to put it here at the top. But I'm going to cut some more off here. And what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to, it won't lie completely flat. I mean, I could try to take out this plastic piece, but I don't want it to fall apart. So basically I need to put the glue on the side right over here. And then that's when we're going to glue it down sort of at a diagonal. I want it to be facing my W, and we're going to cover up a tiny little piece of the top of the W, but that's okay. So I think what I need to do first is put my greenery down above and below it. So on this piece, my idea here is I'm probably going to take this one piece. You saw me clip off of this one stem. I clipped it off. And then from here on this piece, I'm going to push this leaf up closer to the top, and I'm going to cut it here in the middle and make two picks out of it. And so what I want to do on this top one here is, let me see if this will work. Sometimes I curl them down. Just want to see if it will work on this piece. And it works on this piece. So what I need to do is, this is the part we cut off, right? So I need to cut it a little bit closer to where I want this leaf to end. All right, so I'm going to cut it there. And then I take my pliers, your craft tool, whatever you're using to bend and move things. I'm going to take here and I'm going to grab this piece here and I'm going, oops, let me get this leaf out of the way. Let me push that down. Okay. So I'm going to take this piece here and I'm going to grab it and I'm just going to curl it under. Literally taking it and curling it and twirling it. So you're basically putting that little loop on it there. You can see this loop here. And then that way, this particular leaf that we cut in the middle of, this one isn't going to come off. So that now becomes the top of your pick. Okay. So since I cut this into 2 pieces, the idea is I'm going to curve this one just a little bit and have it come up off of the block. See how that little vine effect happens? I like that little extra vine effect coming up off the top. And I'm going to put this one just going straight down. Kind of off to the side a little bit, but I still want to be mindful of how the piece, there we go, of how this piece will end. So then here all I'm doing is stapling them down, and then we're going to put hot glue over top of those. Oh, I'm out of staples, I believe. Yep, out of staples. All right, one sec, guys. Okay, staple's full. I'm going to go back up here and staple around. Well, maybe it'll do both of them. Let me see if it'll reach. Yeah, that reached on both of them. So if you see the 2 staples I applied right here, they're in decent. I'm not going to use a hammer to get them in further because I'm going to put, actually this one's kind of loose right here. You see that? So let's staple it again. Yeah, okay. Sometimes it needs a little bit of help. Yes, I have a hammer and I didn't grab it. Sorry, guys. Sorry if that shook the camera a little bit. So the idea is to put my flower kind of coming up like this. And then a piece, maybe 2 pieces of cotton. Actually, I could use 2 flowers. I'm going to put one here. That's going to hide a lot of this glue here. And this is really all there is to it, you guys. I only planned on using 1 flower, but it looks like I've got the space and the idea that this will work out just fine. So let's clip that guy off there. And all I'm doing is just laying this stuff out, making sure these pieces fit together the way I like them, the way I would like them to. Okay, for sure I'm going to put this one facing up this way. I don't know if my staple's going to actually work on this. Let's just take a look and see what happens. No, it doesn't reach. It's not long enough. So this is going to have to be glue only. Not a problem. So I'm going to apply my glue on the side instead of right on the bottom. We're going to do the side of it and a little bit on the leaves and the petals, if you can see there. And then we're going to make sure we place that side directly down onto the wood, in an area where you know the leaves are going to cover it, okay? So I'm just going to hold that there for just a little bit. And then let me pull off a couple. Let me get a smaller one here. I like the ones on these little picks, and again, I got this at Hobby Lobby. I like the ones that kind of look all ratty and messed up. And then there's these ones that are more closed here. Those are really neat and cute. Just looking for a smaller one. This one's super small right here. I'm for sure going to use this one. That's mainly because it basically was coming undone. So we'll see how this one applies in here first. Just cutting the extra pieces off. All right, guys. Actually, I think I only need to use one piece of cotton. That's basically the premise I'm going for. But what I need to do is I need to add in my twine first before I glue those other two pieces in. So I'm going to show you how I do this. Normally, I've done this on a few different projects. If you guys have seen my other YouTube videos, or if you're one of my patrons, you've seen it in a Patreon video I made specifically for you guys. Basically, I'm going to take the twine and I'm just going to go loop and pinch, loop and pinch, loop and pinch, loop and pinch. And then that is it. I'm going to leave this tail a little long on this side because I like the way that curls, okay? And normally what I would do for a piece or a project, a centerpiece or a wreath or anything like that, garland, is I would take and I would wrap this with a pipe cleaner. But instead, for this instance, I'm going to staple this down to the wood itself, right here in the center. So make sure you get a good spot. Actually, I'm going to turn it around this way, so I can hold my staple gun in the correct area. And I'm going to shoot for right in between those stems. Basically, I want to make sure I get a good, I want to get a good angle at it, and I want to make sure I get it right on the wood. Let's see how this works out. Make sure. All right, yeah, everything's in between. The staple has secured it down. So you guys can see right in there. There's the staple. Okay. And here, after we put everything else on, we can kind of mess around with these loops and everything. It's kind of like playing with your bow after you've already placed your bow on. And then I need to glue this guy down right under here, and we're going to put the cotton right in the middle. And that's basically how I'm going to cover all of the behind the scenes in there. Okay, so what I need to do is I'm going to glue this flower down just right here, more or less, so that it's coming up side to side with the other green flower that we placed on here and here. So what I need to do, I think what I wanted to do was, that leaf does not interfere. It sort of does. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this leaf, I'm going to apply a tiny bit of glue on the one side, and I'm going to bring this leaf down. If you saw, I took it and I brought it down and glued it to the back of the other leaf. So that way on the front, you can see that these two leaves are close to each other. It's not sticking out right down here, so that I can glue this onto my project and the leaf is not covering the W. What I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some glue to where my twine's held down and glue to where my floral stems were stapled down. So I'm just putting a little bit of hot glue over all of the staples. And just remember, this is all something that you're going to have to cover. It's going to need to be covered up, so make sure that your flowers and your greenery or whatever little picks that you choose are going to have enough space, are going to have enough coverage. They're going to be big enough to cover everything. Okay, so I'm going to glue all on this side. I was just finding placement so I know exactly where to place all my glue at. And then glue that guy down right in there. I can pull a loop off to this side. We'll wait till the glue actually dries and hardens before I do all that. Oh, it's getting pushed up a little bit too far. There we go. Coming out pretty cute. All I got to do now is just place the little cotton ball in the middle. So I'll make sure this covers up everything. Otherwise, we may have to do two. Yeah, I think we're good. Just going to trim this up a little bit. It's got some extra pieces flying everywhere. And just for good measure, I'm going to put some more glue on the back of this flower before I put the cotton in, only because I won't be able to get to it after I put the cotton in. So I'm just kind of adding a little bit of extra glue for security. And then we may have to put a couple pieces of this greenery poking out, but that won't be really hard. I'll show you guys real quick. Just going to pick a side that I really like. These three sides, you know, every piece of the little cotton is they're all different. So like, see how this one's a little bit smaller? I'm going to pick the bigger puff pieces to stick out towards the top. I'm going to place that in there just like that. So I'm going to need to glue all down on this side of it. I'm going to get my twine out of the way, and I'm just going to pop that right in there. I'm going to kind of play with the twine. You can get it around the flower a little bit. Just have it coming out. Give it a little bit of interest in there. Looks like a little bit of, just a little bit of cute, fun, you know, airy quirkiness. That's what I love about that twine. And so what you can't see here is I have a tiny little piece right under here where you can see a little bit of glue and staple. So what I'm going to do is glue a tiny little leaf, an extra little leaf piece off of here. I'm just looking for one that I can kind of sneak, something that I can sneak up off the bottom. I don't really want to pull the pieces off the top, but I need something that's going to cover. This little guy down here looks perfect, so I'm going to snip it off the bottom. I'm just going to put a cut in the plastic piece that holds it onto the stem, and I'll show you in a second. So I pulled this one off the bottom, and I put a little cut right here in the stem, and that's the piece that comes right off the stem there. So I just used it as a cover. I pulled it off as a helper, not as an actual piece of the stem. And so that's adding. Oh, there's glue in there, still a little tacky. I'm gonna dip this guy right in here into my glue pot really quickly, because this is really hot glue in the glue skillet. And this is kind of really thin plastic, so it might melt. And then I'm going to pop that guy right in there like that and push it in as far as I can get it. There we go. That's as far in as I can get it. And then do you see here now that the hole is missing, and you can see cute little green leaves coming out instead of the other. All right, and that's it, guys. There's the tiny little, you know, monogram. I have some greenery that I have saved from other projects, and I will glue those inside here. And then I can come back and show you guys that later. I'm not going to do that right now. I don't have it with me. So there's my little tabletop design I'm going to put on my desk in my office. Just a little W, little monogram, fun for me. My favorite colors are green. I like the farmhouse with the chicken wire and the cotton, and this is super cute for anybody. This was only $6 for the wood, $1 for the letter, and then the chicken wire and all these other supplies I had on hand. But I can guarantee you that this was probably not more than $15, I would guess, if once you dumb it down to however many, what you've used per inch or per foot, stuff like that. We didn't use this entire pick. We used one piece of it. So this is a really cute, inexpensive project for anyone. And then also, just real quick, look at this cute little curly Q up here that we made. Can you guys see that right there? Can you see that right there? Look out, that's where we made it into its own little pick. I think it adds just a little cute whimsy to it, like it grew like that in nature, and I don't know. That's just the fun part I like about it. I'm gonna have this. I want this to stand up just a little bit more, so I'm gonna bend it this way. Perfect. That's how I want it to stand on my desk. So there will be pictures at the end of the video, so just stay tuned. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear off my space, and I'm going to get the next project started here, and then we'll be right back. Okay guys, welcome back. As you can see, we have the next project here. And just real quick, I want to show you the ending of the last project. If you see here, I left it off with the back. I said I was going to fill it with greenery, and that's exactly what we did. What I made sure to do was I glued on some leaves on each side to cover up where the glue and the staples were on the chicken wire on the inside here. And then the rest of it kind of just lent opportunities to kind of tuck in greenery here and here. And all of these are, except for this piece here in the middle, this was left from another greenery branch. That's all I really had left of it. So I had that in my stash. I stapled and glued that in. And then all these little pieces are, these leaves are leftovers from the greenery on floral bushes. Excuse me, I save all of those. So I have a little bucket full of this stuff, and I just kind of found things that would fit and tuck them in here and glue in there. So now the back of it is kind of looks like, you know, the nature just kind of overtook it. So it's almost like it sat there to get beautiful, along with the front of it. The back of it just looks just as cute too. And then this little guy right here peeks out a little bit, which I like from the front. You can kind of see this one kind of sticking out a little bit. I like it, adds character. And again, this piece is mine, so it's basically, if you make it for yourself, make sure it makes you happy, make sure it makes you smile. If you're making it for a friend or a family member, put their own little spin on it, put their preferences, color, theme, personality, character, anything you want you can think of. This basically is my favorite piece. I love the cotton and all that good stuff, but just wanted to show you the back, and that's how we finished it. So now this project is going to be pretty much almost identical, except for this one has a larger piece. We're going to put some more ribbon in it, and then two of these ribbons here are not wired, so this should be fun. So first off, what I did was, this is a 9x9, am I right? Sorry, this is a 10" by 10" wood square, and this is the tag for you can find at Walmart. You can probably look at them online. They are considered just 10 by 10 squares. Let's see, jillybean-soup.com is where it's Jilly Bean Soup brand, but I purchased it at Walmart. This particular block was $9.97 for the 10 by 10. And I've already taken off the hanger. It had the same rope hanger right here as the other previous one did. I've already taken it off. Now this one, the staples didn't work with me too much, so I've had to leave them in there. But I've cut all of that twine off there, because this one I want to hang on the wall as a wall piece. I don't want you to have to hang it by a long cord. So what I did was, my idea is I'm going to put a sawtooth picture hanger on the back. And I just want to show you guys two options. These I purchased at Lowe's, at my local hardware store. And you can find these a lot of other places. But it's called a sawtooth hanger because they look like they have little teeth on them. And then this is the large size. And then here are small ones. If you can see in there, this is the small brand. And they're really tiny. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put one of these large ones right here on the back, and I'm just going to pick a side. Since I took the hanger off from down here, I'm going to put the sawtooth hanger here in the middle. And so what I'm going to do is, I taped this shut pretty good, didn't I? Oh, because there's little tiny nails. This is put together with small nails, and yeah, I've used it on a couple other things. So I bought, this is a pack of 5, so I've used this on one other item. I'm going to take the sawtooth piece out, and that's what it looks like right there. This is 2.5 inches wide exactly, and I'm going to put that somewhere there in the middle. And then I need to get 2 little nails out. I'm going to set that off to the side. So what I need to do is make sure that your teeth are pointing down the project, so that basically when it's hanging on the wall, that's what you're hanging it by. Okay, so I'm going to pretty much just try to guesstimate where the middle is on this. I'm going to use my lines on my mat below here to see just how big this is. So there we got 10, so I need to go 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 is the direct middle here. So I'm just going to kind of guess that that's where the middle is. And again, because you have the options here of all these extra little teeth to hang by, and then also we don't know the weight of the project because we're going to be putting wood lettering, we're going to do flowers and everything on there. This gives you the option of, you know, compensating for whatever side might be heavier than the other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to nail these in right here. The camera might shake a little bit because I'm on the same table here. So I'm just going to go ahead and speed that up for you guys. But I'm going to go ahead and just nail these in with a little tiny hammer I found for my craft room. I love this little hammer. It's so cute. Okay guys, sorry about the camera shake. I just sped that up for you so it wasn't so bad. And then basically that's what we got. You got your nails in, and that's basically now how we're going to hang the piece on the wall. It'll be super cute. And I don't want to put twine or anything on it. The next project I'm going to do that. I'm going to change it out, and I'll show you guys how we do that too. So for this one now, what I want to do is fairly similar to the last one. Is I'm going to put the word family on this, but I kind of want it to be a little quirky. I want it to be off center. I want it to be kind of higher than the piece. I also need to make sure I compensate for flowers and ribbon. We need enough space for that, so that it doesn't overwhelm the actual wording that you want to put on here. So basically I'm going to put mine on just like that. I want it to be a little bit off center, and I want it to be at a diagonal. I don't know what it is about diagonals, but I love everything at a diagonal. Now I know I didn't put my W at a diagonal, but that was a very small piece. This is larger, so I'm gonna stick with that, and we're gonna go quirky. It's my favorite kind of way to go. So here again, like before, add a lot of glue all around the places you can. The wood piece underneath is a little not uneven. Well, yeah, I mean the two planks under there are kind of uneven a little bit. I'm not going to go to the very top of the L. Actually ran out of glue because that's going to stick up a little bit above at the top. So I'm just going to make sure I add enough glue here. Be very careful, guys. I've burnt myself on the W, so it wouldn't be too hard to burn yourself again. Okay, and then just make sure you got your placement under here and place that guy down. And then like before, we're going to hold it for a little bit. This middle plank is a little bit higher than the other here, one of these pieces of wood here, but it's not so significant that it's going to cause an issue with it sticking down. So I'm just going to hold this down for a little bit. And I see an extra piece of glue right here I'm going to remove real quick while it's still tacky. And then that just comes off real easy. Making sure there's no other. And then just hold it down for a little bit just to make sure it's secure. Okay guys, there's the finished piece added on. The glue stuck really well. I like that it sticks up just a little bit above the top of the piece. Just think outside of the box, literally. Here's the box, and we have it just peeking out a little bit outside of it, just at the top. I like the interest it adds to the piece. You can put this in any configuration you could possibly think of. If you want it right dead in the center, sort of like I did the W over here, you could do dead center. You could even actually wrap a piece of burlap around the middle and then staple it on the back, because remember we have that shadow box feeling back here, so there's a lot of leeway and room to staple some items. You could even do burlap this way or that way. Since this is being hung, you could do a vertical burlap. Anything else like that. I'm just going to do flowers and ribbon. I really like the dark wood to show through. So, and that's why I picked the whitewash word in family. Now the next project is a whitewash, and we're going to stencil on that, so we'll see how that turns out. But this one, I really liked the brightness of the family against the dark wood, so I'm just going to add a lot of really bright, pretty orange flowers. And that's pretty much how we're going to complete it. Flowers and ribbon, and we're done. So let me grab, I know this was an extra piece from another project again. I felt that this one just kind of was really perfect for the project because of how orange it is already. So this was also something that I took off. I have many more, but I only want to put one of these in here. So it's a big bright orange daisy that's definitely going to go in there. I want a couple of these, maybe all three of these, because then I'll be done with them in my stash. This is also just like those green ones we used. This was in the same project. and then I just took them out and I zip tie them and I save them. So these three pretties might go in here well, they will go in here somewhere, so I can get rid of those. And then I've got various other orange flowers. These marigolds were speaking to me because of how bright the centers were. So I got a lot of different colors of oranges going on here. And then this bright guy right here in the middle, I loved it all. So this is going to all basically be about placement. So I'm just cutting the stems a little short, and I'm kind of bending them because we're going to need to staple these down. Now again, since this is not going to be a tabletop piece, you can actually have things kind of stick off to the left, right, the top, the center. We can pretty much do anything we want on this. So I'm just going to kind of place things kind of just a little bit all over. And we'll see how it goes. And then of course, I'm going to put something small up here at the top with just a little, maybe a little loop of ribbon or two. We'll see how that works out, if it's possible. I might put a small little orange flower at the very top up here. It's probably not small enough. And I went with a bunch of oranges only because if you have a specific color in mind, sometimes the best thing to do is just grab a lot of hues of the same thing. Just grab a few of bright, a few dark, a few, maybe even fall. If you've got orange is a big color for fall, grab a few fall flowers too, and just start kind of experimenting with them and see how they look together. Eventually all of the oranges will they'll play off of each other, and you'll see how all of them look good. I mean, I've done that with greens, many different colors of greens. I've done it with blacks and grays, turquoises. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can use the same color to help itself and lend the feel you want of. If that's your favorite color, then use it all you can. I'm just seeing how these are all going to kind of go together. And again, I haven't stapled anything, I haven't taped anything, but that is the end goal, is to get these all kind of melded in together without being too huge. I don't want it to be so overwhelming that you can't see the family anymore. And then what we need to do is we're going to be mixing in these ribbons in here as well. So I kind of like this layout. Now I can't guarantee they're all going to go back like that, but I need to put some ribbon loops in the middle of these. So I think what I'll do is, actually I might move this all around. That's the best part of being your own designer, your own artist. You're making your own pieces come to life. There's no rules. Move this all around here, and I might put this one kind of at the top like this. Just lay them out, take a peek, see how you like them, and then at some point we are going to have to commit. We're going to have to commit to a layout. So I think this might be a little, this is just too big for the top up here. I think that's just definitely too big, and it covers up too much of the word. I'm not liking that, so that's going to definitely have to come down here somewhere. But I think I'm going to have to prop it up with a larger flower. Kind of have it sit up a little bit, because laying it flat, do you see how if it's laid flat, it just kind of loses its dimension. There's like no interest to it. You have all these big fluffy flowers in this one flat one. So I'm going to kind of glue it on its side up like this is what I'm going to have to do. So I think I'm going to do that first, since this one doesn't give you any option for stapling. The other ones we're going to staple and glue to the wood, but this one we're going to have to kind of prop it up, and I'm going to stick the stem of this one underneath it in the glue that's still hot, and I'm just going to hold it for a little bit. Some of this might require you to hold your ribbons, to hold your bow, you know, to hold down the flowers. You know, you may have to use the hammer again to staple down the staples a little bit better, and then glue over those. So sometimes a little bit of time is needed, a little bit of patience, but in the end it'll work out and it will be gorgeous, trust me. And then you get to say that you made it. So you can make this even for a gift for someone else. If you know anyone, I just purchased these all at Walmart. The family was also at Walmart in the same aisle with where these boxes were, and this was $4.94. So you could purchase from, if you know a local woodworker, or if you have an area where you can find other words, or you can get someone's last name made custom, you can apply this exact same technique on a larger scale or with different supplies. Just think of this particular project as a base and then kind of expand from there. Think of the colors, the styles. You could do this for Christmas with the word joy, or Merry Christmas, or snow, or a snowflake, or a snowman on a box, and then you would use, you know, fall or Christmas or winter themed projects and flowers and greenery, and you will get the same end result. It'll be very beautiful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my first little loop of bows of ribbon. Basically, these are going to be ribbon loops that stick out a little bit. They're not actually going to be a bow, especially since we're not using anything but a staple gun. We're not going to, oh, I haven't used this one yet. We're not going to worry about any kind of steel picks or wire cutters, or, I mean, not wire cutters, I'm sorry, steel picks, pipe cleaners, anything like that. We're not going to have to worry or use anything extra like that. Now this purple polka dot one is striped on the other side, which is also really cute. This is polka dots here and stripes here. This I purchased at Hobby Lobby a while ago, but I believe they still have the same kind in many colors. This was a 30-foot roll for $5 at Hobby Lobby, so I thought that was a good price regardless of it not being on sale in their floral department. So I purchased that. And then these two are non-wired, and as you can see, they were bought at Paper Mart. I got them ages ago. The thing was, on both of them, I got them in multiple colors. So you may have seen me use these on different projects before. And what I did was, I was not paying attention in my shopping online, and I did not realize that they weren't wired until I got them. So what I did was I put a dovetail on this end, and I put a diagonal cut on this one, since this one's kind of thinner. And then also I use a diagonal cut when anything is about smaller than a 1.5 inch. This is about a 1 inch ribbon, and this is about a quarter. What is this? This is a half inch ribbon. So I don't use a dovetail on something so small. So I like that this is actually going to have a little bit of variety, and that this one will be dovetailed, and then these two are cut diagonally. So the first thing I'm going to do is kind of just make some small loops. Remember, if you've got non-wired ribbon, you need your loops to be smaller so that when you place them down in the project, they stand up on their own. If you make the loop way too big, you see here, that they're going to droop in the project. See, even though they're not really standing up. Okay, so make your loops much smaller than you think you're going to need them in the beginning. And then I'm pitching and twisting. This is double-sided ribbon. You don't really have to. It's probably just a habit for me to do that. Really, is what it is. So this is basically the gist of it. Now this is going to need to stick up over a few other pieces, you know, some other flowers. So we're just going to kind of get a hint of it in here. I'm going to guess I want that one a little bit short. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to staple them in individually. Normally when you make a bow, you might hold a few together here and there, but I'm going to staple these in individually. And all I'm doing is going to lay them flat right here on the wood. Kind of lay it the way you want your loops to go. And I'm just going to push a staple in the middle of this one. And I'm only going to do one. And then let me dovetail this end real quick. I'm only doing one staple because we are going to staple the other ribbons. Oops, I did that backwards. You see that, guys? Everybody makes mistakes. I did it backwards. There we go. Now we got a dovetail. I don't know where it went. What we need to do is we're going to take our smaller 2 ribbons together. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to make 2 loops, fairly small enough to where I think that the project's going to hold them up on their own. Okay, and then since this is a diagonal cut, this one should be easy. I'm going to staple this guy right in the center of this one. And I'm just putting them different directions. If you notice, I put the purple plaid vertical, and I'm putting this orange one horizontal in here. And we're going to staple through all of this again. And if you'll see in here, that's basically, oops, there go all my flowers. That's how your project's going to look while you're stapling it in there. Okay, you're just stapling them on top of each other. You can add a little bit of glue in there if you want. If you want to make sure your staples don't come out, you can kind of put a little bit of touch of glue underneath. I'm going to put a little touch of glue in between these 2 pieces here, just in case the staples come out. This, let me tell you, this is really good softer wood, and the staple gun is just really flying into it. So the idea is, you can see it's kind of laying flat right now. When we put more flowers around this, it's going to kind of pop up on its own, and it'll have its own little bit of life, you know, coming out of it. A little bit of happy, fluffy loops and bows and streamers and things, and it'll look really nice when we're completed, which is why I wanted to put the bow in first. So then the last one is this little guy here. Now this one is wired, so we don't have to really worry about how big we make them, but I kind of want this one. I almost think what I want to do is kind of twirl it around my finger to give it kind of like a cute little ringlet design like that, and then just have that sticking out of it with no loops. I think that's what I'm going to do with it. So let me just keep wrapping. This is what I'm going to do. And then since this is wired, you know, even after you store it, or if you say you need to ship it somewhere, you'll have the benefit of it being wired, so you can put the curls back in it real quickly. You could wrap this around a dowel. You could wrap it around, you know, anything circular. Doesn't have to look as difficult as I'm making it right now. And I'm basically just going to put a little weird end on that like that. I'm going to find the somewhat in the middle, and I'm just going to staple this guy down as well, right in the center. All I'm doing, you see here, is I'm taking this piece, I'm going to lay it flat, and I'm going to staple right down in the middle. Right across all of that. So now these little pieces here, these little ringlets, after we curl them again, they're going to just kind of stick out, pop out of the project. So I'm going to build the flowers up around it here. That way we got our bows and our ribbons aren't falling anywhere. And we'll do that on this side as well. So kind of just hold your bow and your loop up a little bit out of the way and see how you need to place it. I need to cut this one a little bit shorter because the stem is poking into the other flower. And with this, we're going to staple and glue. So I'm going to place this one right here. Don't be afraid to smush things. You're going to have to get in there. You're going to have to smush things a little bit. I got to hammer this. Sorry, guys. One sec. You're going to have to get in and push things down to get your staple gun in the right spot. Of course, after I stapled it right there, I put glue on the staple. And you see how it's this particular flower is now holding up your unwired ribbon here. Because previously that loop was falling flat, kind of like they're falling flat on this side right here. You see this? We're going to have that held up with flowers. Remember, the loops are small enough that they're still going to stick up, but we need a little bit of help with the rest of the project as far as, you know, flowers are going to help kind of prop it up on each side. So staple, hammer, repeat. If that's a good way for you to remember your process. Staple, hammer, repeat. Staple, hammer, repeat. So now I'm going to make sure I push everything up this way. And I'm going to put another flower over here. I definitely want this marigold to go about right here. And I think what I'm going to do is, I don't know if I want to put another large bow in because of how we've built it up right here. So what I'm going to do is maybe put just a couple of these small loops over here. So I'm going to go ahead and take this marigold here, and I'm going to staple and glue this one down to this corner right here. And if you've got a longer stem and it fits, go ahead and staple it twice. And then I put glue over the staples. There's a little behind the scenes. You can see the staples and the glue. And we're going to do that to every flower stem. I didn't do it to the one that I had right here with this daisy because it's really stuck into a lot of glue with that daisy, and it's not going to go anywhere. You guys know me from other things. I have a habitual bow fluffing addiction. I can't not fluff the bows, even though I know I'm not done with the project. I can't. It's almost though I can't say no to them. Okay, and I missed one, so we'll pull that staple out. Actually, I pulled them both out. Okay, so let's do that one more time. Except for this time, I'm going to make sure I get the stem. I got halfway in it, guys. Let me try this way. There we go. And they're not going to go anywhere, it appears. That is what we use glue for. So I put this one lower. I mean, it might seem that it's kind of all over the place, but that's part of the design, guys. We want it to sort of look like it's a beautiful mess. You see how I'm going to kind of nestle that one down in there? So there you have a big gap. You can see that there's a big gap in here. I'm going to take this one and I'm going to just kind of nestle this one up in there under between the bow and the marigold here. And then these ribbons will kind of come down, and you kind of move this ribbon off to the side. You can kind of feed them through the leaves and the flowers however you want. So for now, what I need to do is I need to get in there and smush everything once again. So I can staple this stem down. And add the glue. So after we fluff it all back out, move the petals, because of course I've squished petals, I've squished the ribbon and the bows. You got this petals down here. I'm going to move that guy a little bit to the... And then also glue strings. That's always, obviously you guys know that, that's going to be a... And then here's where I can see where I'm going to need to cut this tail, because that tail is super long. I'm going to kind of have this guy come out between here, kind of do a little bit of a curly Q towards the top. And actually, I might do this one the other way so you can see the stripes. That's what I'm going to do. So I just kind of pulled it with my fingers and curled it the opposite way, which is why I love this ribbon since it's wired. And I believe they have it in other colors. I remember seeing blue and green. And I think it's one of Hobby Lobby's staples. This type of ribbon is kind of always there. I love that this one side's polka dot and the other side's striped. It's super cute. Yeah, I'm going to need to cut this a little shorter. It's covering not the way I really wanted it to hang, so I'm going to cut this one a little bit shorter, about an inch shorter. And that actually wasn't very diagonal. I'm going to go back in and just cut off the corner. There we go. And that's what I was looking for. Do you see how it kind of just pops out from there? You don't need to worry that it's not wired. And these ones, I like them longer, so I'm going to leave them longer. Also, since they're the same, in the same hue, orange, as everything else, I'm going to leave them that way. So that's basically how that turned out. Lots of staples, lots of glue, and it's definitely a learning, a learning experience. So I'm going to make sure this time on this one, I'm going to take the greenery here and I'm going to push it up towards the bud before I cut it off. Because I want it to have the green on it when I staple it down. I'm going to lift this flower up here and kind of push this under this way to fill in the bottom a little bit. Or do I want this to come this way? Okay, what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to put the two smaller ribbons down here because I want them to be lower, and I need to do them. I need to do it first. So what I'm doing on this particular one is, I just guesstimated on that, guys. I didn't really measure. I just kind of guessed, and it ends up being about 14 inches long. I'm going to just basically put a loop in it like this. You guys know this classic design loop. You see that a lot. I'm going to put that one right here. Actually, I'm going to kind of do it like that. So the loop goes down, and then they have a streamer coming up a little bit. So basically, here's your loop design, right? I'm going to take this one and kind of pull it up like this while I'm holding it. I'm going to staple here in the middle, right underneath this flower here. And that way, if you can see now, I have a tail coming up and a tail coming down. And you can see the staple right there in the middle of it. And then with this one, I definitely am going to do the same thing. I'm going to make it shorter than these were. But remember, we just want to make sure we can get a cute little curly Q popping out. So I'm going to twist it as much as I can, get that in the wires, and then have that come out the same way. I'm going to put it right here in the middle. So I'm going to do this one like this. And same as before, you can add a little glue on top of these staples too, just because the staples in the, and then underneath the ribbon there too. Staples in the ribbon, and then also against the ribbon in the box. And then take those those glue strings everywhere. I'm gonna curl this up a little bit more. And that's kind of the idea I'm going for right there on the bottom. And now I need to peek here and see. All I'm doing is finding the placement of this flower here so I can make sure that this flower is covering the behind the scenes of the bow a little bit over here. And then also any other staples and glue that might be showing through anywhere. And then we can always add some leaves to the middle of these bows once we're done, just to make sure nothing else shows. Oh, I stapled that right in between the planks. Couldn't do that twice. I tried. Let's staple that right up here. There we go. Add glue. And then this last guy right here finishes the piece off. Okay, so now I know I need to kind of separate this a little bit right here and just get my staple gun kind of over. Nice. I'm going to do 2 on this one. There we go. Sorry about the hammering, guys. I know the camera might be shaking a little bit. There we go. And now it's about fluffing and kind of bending stuff a little bit. Your loops are always going to be a little, they just need a little bit of adjustment here and there. Go ahead and give them that. And for this one, this bow over here, I'm definitely going to be adding something into the middle of it. I feel wires sticking out on this, so I'm just going to kind of cut the wires off a little bit. There we go. I'm giving it a clean edge is all I'm doing. I have a little hole right here that I'm going to need to put another flower in. I think I'm going to go with a marigold. I really think they're pretty. I like the bright orange centers on them. They're a little puffier than the other flowers, but I really, really like the bright orange in them. It's going to make it pop because of the bright color. They're just really pretty. So if you see here, you guys, there's the piece, and here's the hole in the middle. You can kind of see in there. So what I should have done was push that flower a little bit deeper in, which I did not, but we can fix it. It's not going to be the end by any means, trust me. So I get this marigold right in there like that. Yeah, that makes me happy. So I got this guy down here. Yeah, just making sure you can still see these flowers. If you cover up some of them, that's okay. It's part of the deal. That it just gives it more layers. There's layers here, layers there. You get to see a lot of different areas of it. You also can pick smaller flowers. If maybe this isn't particularly your style, maybe there's, you know, the flowers are too big. You can pick smaller flowers, lay them flatter, spread them out more. There's nothing saying you have to pick this big a flower. I like a big arrangement. I like a lot of ribbon. So let me get this guy last in here. This one's going to take a little bit of finagling on my part to get everything in there. So let me just staple that in real quick. Hopefully I can keep it where I want it to go. Yes, I did. Okay. And here's where all the glue strings come out, guys. I keep sticking my fingers in the glue underneath there. Okay. So holding all this apart, I'm going to throw glue right there on that staple. And then the leaves of this other flower here are covering that up. So it sticks out just a little bit. And you can always grab it and bend it up a little bit more. I'm using my thumb to push down on it and pull up the bud so it'll bend a little bit. And then now all I'm doing is just positioning ribbons and bows. And on this one, because of the staple being right in the center of the bow, I need to add some greenery or something in there. I don't want to put necessarily an entire flower. I had leftover flower here because I think that doesn't, I don't like the way that looks. So, oh yeah, that's the one I thought I was going to add to the top up here. I mean, it would look pretty, but I don't know how I would cover that up. Maybe I can find a way to do that if you guys want to hang out with me real quick. Trying to see what has prettier greenery. The marigolds seem to have prettier greenery. So what I did was, you guys saw, I just pulled this extra piece of greenery off of the stem, and I'm going to cut them off of their plastic stems. So I'm really just cutting them down at the leaf. So this is what you're looking at. And this is what I do for a lot of the back of my pieces. I take the greenery, I cut them off the stems, and I'm going to glue this right down here in the center of the bow. So if you can see right now, that's what the bow looks like without it. Okay, you can kind of see down into the hole. I'm going to place this piece of leaf. I'm going to put this green leaf right down here in the center. And do you see how it gives a little bit of depth and a little bit of growth? Looks like the bow's part of the piece. It kind of adds a little bit of interest, and it helps me cover up a empty spot or a hole, and then now you can't see the staple that's down there either. So if you have if you're using smaller flowers, then this would work for you times 10, because you're covering up the hole, you're adding the same flower into the piece. And actually what I'm doing here, guys, is I'm going to flip this one around and curl it the opposite way like I did on this one. So you have polka dots coming up and stripes going down. Now we have stripes coming up and polka dots going down. Just another little quirky piece of me that's just my thinking style as far as decorative goodies go. You see, you see the interest in both sides. You can see polka dots and stripes on both sides, whether it's coming up or down. So here I'm just going to adjust some more. Let me see if I need to put another piece of greenery on the back of this here, maybe to hold that up a little. Okay, I'm going to tuck this one kind of right behind the loops. I'm just dipping it in my glue pot, getting a little bit of glue on the base of the leaf because we are gluing this to the ribbon. And on this case, we're gluing it to the ribbon in the back of this daisy. And just making sure it has a good bond that's touching a lot of the area you want it to cover. So remember, save those leftover greenery pieces. It comes in handy quite often. Fills holes, fills up your bow with some really pretty, there we go, some very pretty, just pretty options. The greenery helps with a lot. If you're not putting a flower in your bow, the greenery will help with making it look cohesive. I love the way the greens look together. And I would say I would stop here, guys. I mean, that's pretty much it. What do you think? I like, again, this little guy sticks up over the top. I did that on purpose. I love it. We have our picture hanger on the back, so now you can just hang this on the wall. I do not believe that I'm going to be able to get this to work, you guys. I think I would be really cute to put a flower kind of up here in the middle-ish area with maybe a tiny bit of ribbon, but there really wouldn't be a way for me to cover it without making it a really big piece. Let me experiment here with this just to see if I can get it. It won't lay flat. That's just it. The problem is that this will not lay flat. Let me see if I could do the same thing with greenery though. See how, I mean, these leaves are just so huge. Let's take a look, guys. I shouldn't have said no because I might make this work. Just a little bit of interest on the top. If I can get that to cover that just like that. Oh, yeah. Okay. You talked me into it. I know, I talked myself into it. It's fine. Any opportunity. So I'm going to have this kind of set right there, just like that. I glued on the side of it, like we did on the previous thing, on the previous project, the little green one. So now since there's still a large dab of glue under here, I'm going to stick the green leaf right in the corner of this one. And I'm going to stick this one on this side, right on there, so that they kind of cover up the back piece of it. I love the marigolds. They're my favorite one out of this grouping right here. The problem is they're really big. So if I had to put a marigold up here, it would have been really, really fluffy, and I don't want to do that. So just holding these down, kind of moving them around a little bit, making sure they're in there. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue behind them. Just that added little bit of coverage. And there we go. I did, okay. I'm super happy. I'm glad I put the flower at the top. You still get to see a lot of the brown woods, which is what I like, and then the white makes it pop against the brown. And then we've added a lot of different colors. So now this daisy that was so big when it was flat has its own little dimension kind of tucked in there. I really like how this turned out, you guys. What do you think? Another really cute project that you can apply to many different ideas, many different gifts, themes, holidays, individuals, you name it. This is very customizable and very easy to do. A lot of, if you have a lot of stash on hand, if you have a lot of items you're buying, I'm gonna have to hold this while it dries. A lot of items you may already have bought, you can apply this to a lot of different things. Think of a baby's room or the new baby's name, and then you could pick a color, or if the mother's picked a color. Same thing with a bride with her new last name, or the colors that they chose, stuff like that. You could do a Mr. and a Mrs. thing like that for a gift. You could do as a good neighbor gift, Mother's Day, teacher. You can make something like this for the teacher and put the teacher's initial on here. Lots of ideas just keep coming, and trust me, you guys will have them as well. If you make one, please send me pictures. I want to see them. I love these. This is just the idea I had, and of course right now the season while I'm recording this is spring going into summer, so I had a lot of these bright colors on hand already. And there we go. So family's just slightly diagonal, sticks up a little bit. I absolutely love this. Okay guys, we're going to move on to the next one. And the next one is stenciling, so we'll see how this goes because I've never stenciled before, okay? Alright, so let me clear off my spot and we'll get started on the next one. Hi guys, welcome back. So what happened was I'm having a little bit of difficulty with the stenciling, and it's going to take a little bit longer than I thought, and I'm pretty sure this video is already running long enough as it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the third piece with the whitewash, the stenciling, and the florals on a separate video. It'll be a part 2. It should come out not very long after this one. And I will make sure that I go ahead and reference everything back to this first video here. But that one's going to be really cute. It just, again, I've never stenciled before, so you guys will get to see me stumble through that a little bit. That's the best part about it. I want you guys to see the things that I can do and the things I'm not comfortable and stepping outside of my comfort zone. And I've never stenciled, so it'll be fun. Just stay tuned for that video. It'll be a part 2. So for this one, we've got the larger family piece. That's going to be a wall hanging that we added to the back of this. And I think that turned out very super pretty with the purples and the orange. Very summery, very happy, very good. And then this little personalized piece I made for myself. I love the chicken wire. I love the cotton in it, the twine. It's just, it's cute. It's country. It's still a little modern. It's a little feminine. It's a little bit of everything. Again, I used an M as a W. That's because I can. It's for me. If you can't find something that you want to do or that's going to work for you, get creative and find something that will work. Some of the answers are in the most odd places than you would think they would be. So just remember, don't think of everything the way it's supposed to be, because I'm pretty sure that this is not what they intended me to do. This chicken wire ribbon, you could use it in any application. I love it as a background for this. It looks really great. So again, guys, this is a pretty successful 2 projects. The third one is going to come in a part 2 video, and I'll make sure that I give you guys all the links and everything. You'll see that come out next. And then also, if you've enjoyed this video, consider supporting me on Patreon. It helps me continue to make these videos, buy supplies, and then run the behind the scenes of my craft room so I can continue to help and inspire you guys. Other than that, I want to say thank you to my patrons that I already have right now. Thank you to my YouTube subscribers. And if you guys follow me on Facebook and Instagram, thank you as well. Your comments, your posts, your pictures are all very much appreciated. So keep sending them to me. If you guys make some of these or you have different applications or ideas, 4th of July is coming up, you guys. It's just amazing the ideas you can come up with these. Mother's Day. I don't know if Father's Day would work. I don't know if Dad really wants a wall hanging or not, but I mean, you could use nuts and bolts and nails and things and golf balls. I don't know. So you guys let me know how it turns out, and then I'll wait to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comments how you like it. If you have any questions or comments, also please leave those below. I love all your tips and tricks and kind words. So until next time, you guys, take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.